Today's subject is how to start your 2020 business planning. No, it's not. It's how to continue your 2020 business planning. We hope you've already started it. Why? Because December's too busy and January is too late. These assignments that we're sending to you one a week are part of the preparation for our two-day business planning event in Lexington that we lovingly call the Business Breakthrough. Because you can plan your business all on your own. It's when we get together that all the magic happens. So that's why we do it together. So you come to this event prepared with most of at least the numbers done in your business plan. Now, this is what your assignments will look like. They'll come to you via email and they look like this. Business Breakthrough 2019. Each week you'll receive one in a series of 4 assignments. You've already gotten one of them. I am really, really, really thrilled to see you here. Christina Axbig, to see you here. Chris Harrington, you could teach this stuff. You guys have done this so often. Yeah, so I'm really glad that you came, and I'm really glad that you're doing this and taking it seriously. Floyd is on an airplane right now, so that makes it a little difficult for him to connect with us. Hope to get him back with us next week for our 3rd assignment. So what came along with the first assignment and what came along in an email that Anna sent out following our first webinar is what we call the Focus Organizer. This is a tool that Floyd created, and we like to call it like a portable business plan. You can carry it with you. Once you get it complete, you take it with you all year. And on the visual to the right of the screen, you see those are all of the ingredients in your Focus Organizer, beginning with the goal checklist and all the way up to the goal thermometer. Somebody asked me last week, what is that goal thermometer? What is that? And it's also known as the reverse thermometer. We use it in the program to track over the 42 days your platinum book of business candidates that you identify and put into your CRM. If you get 5 a week, at the end of 6 weeks, you should have 30 candidates. I never forget how many thermometers we used to have around the office when we had like a company office all those years ago. Floyd is a nut about charting, making conspicuous public charts. It's a great way to keep people motivated and on track and eliminate some hiding places too for those of you in management. Yeah. And I'll never forget my son, Tim. I have 2 boys. Derek is married, 3 kids, very active in his church. He's like a total adult. I think he was an adult at age 2. And he was so perfect, we thought, let's have another one. And that's when God showed us he has a sense of humor. Because Tim was born standing up and talking back. And he's been a rebel his whole life, but he's really settled down, settled into adulthood now. I'm very proud of him. But I'll never forget when he was 15 years old. He walked into the house, and between the garage door and the kitchen, where that catch-all closet is that we all have, I would put my reverse thermometer, my production goal for the year. And Tim looked at that chart and he said, "What's that? How come it's upside down?" and I said, "That's my goal chart. It's my reverse thermometer. And it tells me if I'm on track, if I'm off track, and it tells me when I hit my goal, what I'm shooting for." And he pointed to the very top of it and said, "Well, what happens when you hit that?" And I said, "You get a car." And that was the day Tim became my biggest cheerleader and biggest fan, because he knew when I hit my goal, he got a car. You know, if you can share your reverse thermometer with everyone back home, it's one way to kind of motivate them to home court advantage, to be on your side. Yeah, because if they know something's in it for them, they'll encourage you as opposed to critique. Yeah, you don't need to go home to a critic. You want to go home to a cheerleader. Reverse thermometer is a visual way to get them involved in your goal and teach them how to do it. Anyway, that's part of the focus organizer. And I love, somebody asked me to send them one because they didn't have one. So I was happy to do that. Glad you got yours. Now, at the Business Breakthrough, we do three things. And there are three parts to any business plan. You know what they are. The first part is learning from the past. The second part is assessing the present. And the third part is creating the future. You got to do all three for your business plan to really work for you for the whole year and keep you on track. Learn from the past, assess the present, create the future. So last week, we did assignment number 1, which was get your purpose in place, make sure it's consistent with your goal, and then convert your goal into activity. You all remember that. If you don't remember it, we recorded the webinar, so you can always go back and relearn, re-listen, rewatch, is that a word? Rewatch, and do those 3 assignments. And we took that income goal, what you need, what you want, your savings, all the other parts that go into it, and we converted that to activity. What's the one trackable, doable activity I am going to focus on for the next 12 months, starting January 1? And that might be conversations, it might be appointments scheduled, it might be leads generated, it might be 590-10s. It's something you can do. Not like my goal is dollar volume. You can't do dollar volume, but you can do a trackable, measurable activity. Like we said last week, the great management guru Peter Drucker said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. So how do we learn from the past? Today's assignment is about 3 things. Number 1, it's about taking all of your SMART numbers from this year. Yep, the same SMART numbers that we track during the program. Remember the huddle? First hour of every program, your team gets together in a huddle and you proclaim your numbers. You report your numbers out loud to everybody else. We also do that on our R-squared coaching calls. And the second thing is we take those SMART numbers and we look and see what are the ratios. What are my current ratios? Because ratios change. The basics never change. The SMART numbers never change. The ratios will change. And they'll change depending on market conditions. They change at time of year. And they also change at skill level. So you keep track of your ratios, and that's how you troubleshoot things. And then the third thing we do today is we take a look at those ratios and arrive at some conclusions. Now, last week, we were assessing the present and creating the future. This week, we're learning from the past. Seriously, have we got the cart before the horse? Uh-oh, well, maybe we did, but maybe not. Because you learn from the past without letting it dictate the future. What did Albert Einstein say? Those who know, that was Winston Churchill, or maybe Sesshu Hayakawa. Anyway, it's been attributed to lots of people. If you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. You've heard that, I know you have, yeah. So you want to learn from it without letting it dictate the future. You know that that AHA tool that Floyd created and gave us, the adversity handling analysis? Yeah, whenever you get knocked off track, whenever your production is low, or you got something that's stopping you, an adversity, that's what we call it, yeah. You fly up in the air and write down the facts. What happened? Was it major or minor? What % am I responsible for? And then, what was the lesson learned? And based on the lesson learned, what can I put in place to prevent it from happening again? And that's how you learn from the past so you don't repeat it. And why is that so important? I'd really like you to make a note of this, if you would, please. It's important because adversities keep happening, not just to you, but to everybody. In fact, the more deals you do, the more drama you have to deal with, the more problems you have to solve, the more adversities get thrown your way, the more transactions you do. It's just part of the territory. This is the business we have chosen. Remember that? Yeah. So how do you get past adversities? Well, Floyd taught us you learn from it and then you let it go and go on. I know lots of people who have not let things go yet because they haven't learned from it. Learning from the past is the key to being able to let it go and go on. We're going to learn from the past today in order to plan and create the future. Create your business plan for next year. You don't want to let it dictate the future, but you know what it can do? It can show us the way. So first we set a goal, and then we let our past performance inform how we're going to tweak that goal and tweak that plan. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. We all have wishes and hopes and dreams and expectations, but that's not what a goal is. Goal is specific and it's measurable and with a time limit, and it's something you want for you, and it has a plan attached to it, or it just becomes a wish. Okay? Say okay. Good. Here we go. 2019. These are the SMART numbers that you are going to need to do your business plan for 2020. How much income have you earned from your closings year to date or the last 4 quarters? We're at the end of quarter number 3. October, November, December is quarter 4. So you could go through October 1 of 18 till September 30th of 19. Or you could do year to date and extrapolate. You know, this is 10 months worth of income. And from that income, the next thing is, okay, how many closings did you have and what were they composed of? Some of the closings were sold listings and some were buyer sales. If you know what your income is and the number of closings, you know what your average commission check was. Pretty simple math to do. And then how many listings did you get? How many listing appointments did you go on? How many offers did you write? Offers accepted? And what percentage of those things did not get to closing? That went pending but didn't get to closing? We call those fall throughs. Now, why is it important to know what your fall through ratio is? Well, because they're going to keep happening. Yeah. And if you don't plan for them, they hurt more. If you know they're part of your business plan, based on history, what are the odds you're going to close everything that goes pending this next 12 months? Not good. Something's going to fall through. How do I know that? Well, because we have a whole 350,000 new untrained co-broke agents out there in the last 18 months whose goal in life is to screw up our deals. Yeah, so plan for fall throughs. Make that part of your business plan. And these are the SMART numbers that you need to get to the next step in the business plan. Then we're going to take a look at some ratios. Now, I want to take you through this list here. If you've got all of your activity and results laid out in front of you, and you take out one of these babies, yeah, a little simple calculator, or you could do it on this. Or if you're good at math on pencil and paper, wow, like longhand, yeah. If you've got a 590-10 partner You know how many numbers you dialed. If you've got an auto dialer, you know how many numbers you dialed. If you've been tracking your prospecting, you know how many numbers you've dialed this year. From that number of dials, how many conversations did you end up having? There's a ratio, whether it's 5 to 1, 8 to 1, 50 to 1, I don't know. But you do if you know your numbers. You know, even a step before that is, okay, how much time did it take me to do those dials? Because that really can inform your smart week. You know, how much time do I devote to dialing? Because if I know my ratios, dials to conversations and time to dials, then I know how much time to plan in my smart week. Now, why is that important? Okay, here's why. Because if your weekly plan is based on guesswork, it's not good. The first shiny thing that comes along is going to talk you out of sticking to your plan. But if your smart week, your prospecting plan is based on numbers, that takes all the guesswork out of it and all the emotion. And whatever comes along your way, you're not going to let it get in the way. Because if you're daily doing this, the daily task is connected to achieving that goal which serves your purpose. When those two, when they're connected like that, nothing, you allow nothing to distract you or get you off track. So how many conversations did I have? And from those conversations, how many leads came about? Well, how many were buyers? How many were sellers? How many were referrals? From those leads, how many appointments did I get? From those appointments, how many listings did I take? From the listings I took, what percentage of them sold? When I got a buyer to come into the office, meet me face to face at the office or Starbucks or Panera or the loan officer's place, not the house. How many offers did I write after showings? How many were accepted? How many went from pending to closing? And here you've got, Google loves this thing, Google Analytics. Here you've got analytics. Yep. I know if I go on 2.5 listing appointments, I'll get one listing. How do I know that? Well, because I got how many listings did I get last year? Oh, let's take a typical R-squared participant, 48. That's our average. 48 listings. Okay, now I got 2 out of 5. So 48 divided by 5 times 2. Okay. When I know my ratios, I know how much activity I have to do and how much time I need to devote to that activity. How many of us know somebody who runs out of time every once in a while? Yeah. And gets behind every once in a while. Yeah. If you don't know the numbers, it's really hard to stay on track. So I want to take you to a typical R-squared team, because this is what we track every week. Now, there's 8 people on this team: Fred, Ethel, Ricky and Lucy, Rob, Laura, Millie, and Jerry. You might know these people. Yeah, I do. And here we've got Fred, who had 41 qualifying conversations this week. And in the 26 weeks since the year began, this is the end of June, we started in January, Fred has had 538 conversations. Now, that's 538 divided by 26. That's 20.6 conversations per week. That's pretty good. But look at what Ethel has done. 1,450 conversations. This person's serious about having conversations. What's that per week divided by 26? That's 55.7. Wow. Now, you can see that people's ratios here are all over the map. But if we go to the total, which I've been keeping track of for 10 years, which is kind of fun, you see this team of 8 people had almost 6,000 qualifying conversations. That's 230 a week divided by 8 people. That's about 29 per person per week. That's a pretty healthy ratio. They got some good shooters in this. Look at Jerry. He had 104 conversations this last week. Now, Ethel, she had the most conversations, but only 26 this week. Yeah. Now we've got listing appointments and listings taken and listings to sold listing. You see all these ratios? These are the ratios, the activity to results ratios that really inform not just your week, but your whole year. Like I know Ethel, and Ethel made a commitment at the beginning of this year to hold 22 open houses. That was part of her marketing plan. And wait till you meet Ethel at the Business Breakthrough and she tells you everything that happened as a result of that. Yeah, it changed her ratio of listings sold to buyer sales. Way more buyer sales by holding open house. Should that be clear to everybody? Yep. Okay. Anna says I have to let the people in the weight room in, and I don't know how to do that. Make co-host. Cancel. Okay. Where are you, Anna?
If you go up to the right-hand side by participants, it should have a list of people waiting. And then if you hover over their name, just click, admit or let in.
Well, I don't see them. Phone.
If you go up to meeting on the top toolbar, there should be a participants option.
All right. No, that's not it.
We just have a few people waiting, so thanks everyone for your patience.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know how to get out of this. There's our weekly report. Across the top.
On the bottom, do you see participants? Next to video and stuff?
Nope.
All right, I'll message them. Don't worry about it. Let's
manage participants. There we go. Okay. I've admitted 5 people.
Welcome. Yay.
So I'm going to go back to our ratios here and our team. This is an actual R-squared team. The names have been changed to protect the innocent or the guilty. I don't know which. Here we have a team of 8 people that's scheduled. Okay, cut that out. A total of 444 listing appointments and went on 388. That's a pretty good ratio of those scheduled to attended. So it looks like if they scheduled, they go on it. And they got 233 listings. That's this number right here. See where my cursor is? Yeah. So we take 444. Nope, we take 388 divided by 233. That's 1.67. So for every 1.67 listing appointments they go on, they get one listing. It's a pretty skillful team. By the way, this team's been together 8 years. So they kind of know each other. I do want you to know that if you take a look at Rob here, Rob works in a market where the average sale price is 1.5 million. So even though Rob only did 12 transactions, he made more money than anybody else on the team. Yeah, bummer, huh? So market and market conditions are going to be taken into consideration when you're doing your numbers. Over time, over the last 10 years, here's what we've discovered. For every average 9 qualifying conversations that people in coaching have, and by the way, coaching is nothing more or less than keeping people doing the same assignments that they had in the program. That's the only thing it is. Well, it's also board of directors and all that stuff, you know, the mastermind part. That's the bonus part. But the real focus of R squared is to keep people doing the assignments. Just keep doing the assignments. Floyd was brilliant when he put those assignments together. He knows exactly what you got to do. That's why it's have 18 conversations a week, or do your 2 5/90/10s where you're at least dialing. So 9 conversations result in 1 listing appointment. That's been the ratio. Now, what if I know that? If I know that if I have 9 conversations, because I look back at my numbers, and my numbers take all the guesswork out of making this decision. 9 conversations result in me having 1 listing appointment. And my income, well, I want that 120,000. My average closing check is 4. So 120 divided by 4. Did you do that already? Yeah, that's 30. I need 30 closings. And 60% of my closings are listings sold. That's 18 out of 30. Remember, we did this last week. That was our example. So I need to get 18 listings to sell and close. How many listings do I have to get for 18 of them to sell and close? Well, our ratio is 75%. So I need to get 24 in order to have 18 close and earn that 120,000, because I know where the buyers will come from. You know that. They'll come from your listings. If you're a volume lister, yeah. And now what I've discovered is 1 2/3 of an appointment gets me 1 listing. So I take 1.67 and multiply that by the 24 listings I need to get. 1.67 times 24. Yep, that's 40. I got to go on 40 listing appointments to earn the money I want to earn. The numbers just took all the guesswork out of it. Now, you can only do the numbers if you know the numbers, right? Right? That's why you want to keep track of your numbers, activity, and results. You don't have to keep track of a lot, but I would certainly, for sure, keep track of your weekly conversations. Do you have a planner? I sure hope you do. And every day, you look at your to-do list and you pick your top 5. That's called Smart Week. Well, you look at the day before and say, okay, how many conversations did I have? Make little hash marks in your planner, or put it into your CRM where you track your activity and results. It's a couple of keystrokes, that's all. And then over time, over 12 months, or in my case, over 10 years, coaching all these people, I know the numbers. I'm not guessing. So once a day, I'll track conversations. You got to do that. I track leads generated. And listing appointments and buyers that you meet, that's a CTO, come into the office, buyers, and how many offers you wrote. It's about all the activity you really need to track. Maybe fall throughs. People have been tracking that. People have also been tracking offers received on their listings. When the market was really hot, that was important to kind of look at that. And then, of course, production. Listings taken and sales put together and sold listings, and then you know your closings, so those ratios become pretty clear to you. So here we have a group of 8 people who've gotten 488 transactions, that's listings, sales, and sold listings, in 26 weeks. So let's take 488 divided by 26 divided by 8. Yeah, 488 divided by 26 is 18.76. Is that right? Yep. 488 divided by 26 weeks, that's 18 transactions per week. Divided by 8 people, that's 2.35 transactions per person per week on this team. I'd say that's pretty good. You remember back in the program? Yeah, for 17 years, since February 1st, 2002, when the new Floyd Wickman program was created, we've been averaging within 1/100th of a point of one listing or sale per person per week, one transaction. These are people who've continued to do the assignments, and they've been in coaching for 8 years, so they're doing 2.3. Yeah, that's pretty good. 2 more people are late and wanted to come in, so I just let them in. Okay. I know this is dangerous as hell, but I've just unmuted everybody. So somebody out there has a question about this so far, and I know. So watch your background noise if you would, please.
Raised ranch.
So
they're all different kinds. And I want to compare apple to apple. So
okay, I don't know who's doing that, but turn it off, please.
Other Linux
Okay,
homes
sorry.
in the same subdivision.
I gotta mute everybody again. Sorry. I really thought that people were listening. Okay, somebody was listening to something else. Okay, so I want to go to the next slide. And that's this. Knowing your numbers, knowing what you know. And here's the third part of today's webinar. If you were coaching you and you saw your ratios, what would your advice be? Here we have on the left, Coach Bill Belichick, who yesterday won his 300th game. He's the 3rd most successful football coach in the history of the NFL. Yeah, yesterday. It's kind of ironic. Yesterday, he was the coach of the Patriots who beat the Browns. And his first win, he was the coach of the Browns who beat the Patriots. Go figure. And on the right, yep, that's Pat Riley, the great Lakers coach and Miami Heat coach, giving direction. Yep, looking at the numbers and saying, here's what my advice would be if you want to improve your performance. Here's your strength. Here's your weakness. Here's what you should do more of. Here's what you should do less of. So if you were coaching you, knowing what your numbers and ratios are, what would your advice be? And I hope one thing that you've made a commitment to do is be a little more disciplined in tracking your numbers, so we're not guessing. And once you make numbers tracking, as we have in R Squared and in the program, once you make it consistent, then you can fine tune the little things. But until it's consistent, it's hit or miss. I think the quote is this: variety is the spice of life. But spice just adds flavor, not substance. Substance is with consistency. That's where the magic happens. Okay, Mike, I'm horrible at that. Well, get somebody to help you do it then. Yeah, I know. You know, the commission sales DNA is not pretty much detail oriented, is it? No. Yeah. Sometimes you need an accounting background just to do your business plan because it doesn't suit your personality. But all of, and I mean literally all of, the great ones have at least a clue. So we're going to make things consistent for you. Now, if your question is, hey, how do I keep track of all that stuff? I'm busy and I don't like keeping track of all that stuff. If that's your question, well, you really have two choices. One is do it yourself. And the other is let's do it together. It's why we created R Squared and the Business Breakthrough. In my opinion, it's an unbeatable combination for you. So again, this is not a commercial. It's a plea. If you look back at this year, let's do that. Let's fly up in the air and take a bird's eye view of 2019 so far. Are you happy with your results? Is your life in balance, you know, between work and personal? Do you have balance? You have lots of LFTs, things you look forward to. What was that formula for happiness Floyd gave us? You know, 3 things. What do you need to be happy? Well, you need meaningful work, someone to love, and something to look forward to. You get those 3 things in place, yeah, that's a pretty good success formula for happiness. If your business plan that you've been working on this year, your direction this year, has not gotten you to where you want to be, then here's the offer. Come to Business Breakthrough. Get involved in tracking your numbers with us every week, so you don't have to end up unhappy again next year. If you're happy as a clam and things are cooking and, you know, all the income you've ever even dreamed of, happiness just flowing through your ears, come to Business Breakthrough and share your success with everybody. It's $395 and you can get $100 off with the promo code webinar. Yeah. And consider getting involved in R Squared coaching. Manage participants. Someone else, Phil, I've admitted you 5 times. What's going on, Phil? Okay. But here's the real key. If you've taken the Floyd Wickman program, and I know almost everybody on this webinar has, what is it that we make you do in the program? Right, we make you do assignments. And one of them is track your numbers and report them to your team. Yeah, have conversations, get indoors, put together a database, do your smart week. That's not hard. Just keep doing those assignments. You'll be better off 12 months from now. How do I know that? Because I showed you the people in R² who are doing the assignments. Now, some of them have $1.5 million average sale price. They don't need to do as much activity as somebody whose average sale price is 185. But if you just keep doing the assignments in a disciplined way, not just once in a while, weekly, every week that you work, take vacations, take time off. Floyd's always said, take a day off every week. Take a day off every week. It sounds like a radical idea to some people, I know, but take a day off every week. It's good for you. It's good for them, your clients. And keep doing the assignments. Keep doing these assignments, the business breakthrough assignments, whether you're coming to Lexington or not. Do these business planning assignments and take a look at your SMART numbers. Now, if you have to guess, if you've got to estimate, if you got to ballpark them, that's better than not having them at all. But ballpark those numbers. Conversations, dials, conversations. Conversations to leads and appointments, appointments to listings, buyer appointments to offers written to offers accepted, listings taken to sold listings. And then all those things you put pending to closings and closings to income. That's not a lot. That's just a bunch of numbers. When you got those numbers in place, then look at what your ratios are. Where are my ratios off? If you look at your numbers and you see, you know what, I'm having 48 conversations before I get a listing appointment. You must be saying the wrong thing on the phone or calling the wrong people. If you look at your numbers and you see, I have to go on 7 listing appointments to get one. Well, where's the weakness there? It's got to be in your presentation or in the quality of appointment you're making. Who could tell you that? Well, you could tell yourself that if you know your numbers or if you have a coach. That's what coaches do. They give instant feedback on your performance. You've got that. If you've taken the program with me, I know you've got it. That listing appointment checklist. That's everything Floyd taught us to do on a 1-page checklist at the listing appointment, at the house, beginning with ring the bell and finishing with leaving with a happy smile on your face because you got the listing. And it keeps you on track. And what you do is, at the end of every listing appointment, you take out that checklist, a fresh one, and you go through it one at a time. Where did I excel? Where did I get off track? What was the end result? How long was I there? What objections or hesitations did I hear? What did I use to handle them? If you go on, well, what did Floyd go on? He went on about 200 listing appointments a year, 180 some. Let's say you only go on 60 listing appointments a year. You work 40 weeks, 1.5 appointments a week. But you did one of those listing appointment analysis at the end of every one. The things you could learn. That's how you get that instant feedback on your performance and fine tune it. Now your presentation has to be consistent. You got to follow the track. And the more you check, the more you'll learn. Here's what works. Here's what doesn't work. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I need to strengthen. That's called coaching. Keep doing the assignments. Keep track of your activity and results. And keep living by the get by giving philosophy, because that's our core value. And keep making your client's number one goal your number one goal. Keep living up to those standards. Yep, be willing to work toward a common good. Because a group of people working together as a team for a common goal in a spirit of harmony will always have always and are always going to produce more than people working as individuals. And how do we do that? We just do what we say we'll do. Sometimes more, just never less. Now, you'll get next week's assignment sometime in the next couple of days. Time to get started on that because it's the 3rd out of 4. Now, the 4th assignment's the easiest one. It's just pack and prepare to go to Lexington. But the 3rd assignment is the one that's really going to ask you to do a deep dive into your closings and your activity and where all of this came from. It's about sources and resources. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is the week you ballpark, if you don't have hard numbers, your ratios. If you've been in our square, just ask your coach to send you your numbers. Everything's been tracked. And you'll have hard numbers on which to look at your ratios and start building your plan for 2020 so that your vision is clear. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to try once again to unmute all and see if anyone has a question.
Talk about how do we price out a house, and then we're
Well,
going to
somebody's already listening to something else. I can't do that. I'm so sorry. Somebody's got something going in the background. So if you have a question, you know how to reach me. It's Mike@floydwickman.com, or here's my phone, 734-637-4030. That's 734-637-4030. Go out and have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks again for being here.